Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with 3 S's. I'm your host here, Chantele Francis, with my amazing co-host, Jonathan. How are you doing today, Jonathan?
I'm good. I'm very good. How are you?
I'm good. You sound surprised that you're good.
I'm always surprised that I'm good. You never know until the moment hits you, and then you're like, "How am I? I'm great." There we go.
Fabulous. Just amazing. Well, if it's your first time on Reality Realness, well, then welcome. We're very happy to have you. Please subscribe and help this community grow of people that love reality TV and watch it every day of their lives and talk about it ad nauseum. Just saying. So, we were talking about Big Brother, season 23, episode 9, I think it is. Holy cow. There's a lot that's been going on in this season, and we're only on episode 9, which is just wow.
Seems low. Yeah.
What do you think? Because you're not a live feeder. You don't know day to day what's going on. How did you find this episode on a whole?
I think that it was kind of very on par with where it was starting off. So it was just a continuation of, and as you know, there weren't many real surprises or anything like that, and yeah, but it was still fun because they made, again, I don't know what happens live feeds, but they made him seem, we all know the him seem very funny and very, yes, that's the him.
I
Um,
mean, yes, let's do this.
and it was like I wrote down some quotes of his that are ridiculous. I feel like some of his conversations are just like regurgitating like popular phrases that he's heard a million times. I mean, and probably gets them wrong. And so it was just like a almost like a comedy skit, like a little, comedy special starring Brent. Yeah.
Starring Brent. I mean, it's okay. I'm in two worlds with what's going on with Brent because like from what I know, and this is not really a spoiler, you can kind of get it's alluding to it on the the episode, is he actually thinks that he's going to be staying. And so everybody's completely lying to him, but he's like, but he created this whole big ruse of like, okay, like you were 10, I'm going, just to like keep Brittany calm or whatever. But like, I know I got all your votes, whatever. And so in the actual house, it's like we can see that they're avoiding him. They leave conversations with him. They don't like he does have like the plague or whatever of like the stink of being nominated. And he just has no idea that he's actually going home. He thinks that everybody's just playing their role. And so it's going to be epic. Absolutely. If nobody tells him, because at this point, nobody's told him up until today, he is going to turn to a friend who he's turning to say something like what's the word he was going to say? BB, what is he going to turn and say? He's going to call his shot or something, be like, what's the word? Oh my God. Like Yahtzee, like checkmate. I think it's checkmate. He'll be like checkmate. And then it's going to be, the vote's going to be all for him to go. And both of their names starts with BR. So it's going to be like Brent.
They're going to do the with a vote of, whatever, and then they'll psych you out, right? Or they'll psych him out, I think, if anything. I will say the only thing that didn't seem consistent with what I've been watching so far on, just the shows is that it seemed like it was him and why am I forgetting the blonde's name? Whitney, thank you. It was like him and Whitney were kind of together and aligned seemingly. And then this episode, without any explanation, she was like, see you later. I'm going to send you home myself. Like, and so there was no kind of,
you haven't
like, where did that come from?
How his team got there. Right.
Yeah. Because it was very much like, oh, if Brittany gets pulled off, I'm putting Whitney up. And that's how it's going to be. And, I just don't want to put Whitney up right at the beginning. Like, it seemed very much like they were in cahoots. And now she's just totally like, see you later. I want to win the veto and not save you. So I was like, whoa, where did that come from? But yeah.
They haven't showed a lot of him not being the best house guest. He's a lot. I don't think they mentioned it once in the episode, saying like we have to go out after the women, we have to go after the women, like we can't let the numbers go, which is true. But he's saying this to like other women, and so they feel like, oh, they're going to be targeted if he stays in there, and he'd be okay with it as long as a woman goes. And so that was one way that it was starting to like chip away at people, especially the women, wanting him to be there, because he keeps on talking about how it's imperative that they need to get out a woman next. So that was part of it. He's really egotistical, and he's coming on to Hannah all the time, and he's saying to Hannah like, oh, like, you know, you're hot and you're cold, and she's like, actually no, I'm just cold. Like, she really can't stand him.
Yeah. Hannah painted the picture today. Yeah. I said Hannah really painted the picture today with how she felt and why she felt it. It was just more like, Whitney, you're like, where's that coming from? Because I thought you guys were more aligned. But
well, Hannah definitely complains a lot to Whitney about Brent, so you don't see a lot of those conversations. So anytime Brent says something to Hannah tells Whitney, and so she's also getting second-hand information as to what is annoying Hannah, and it's just really easy to like gain a common enemy when someone's complaining about him. Like, if I complain about somebody enough, you're going to hate him too.
And good for Hannah. I mean, good for Whitney to really pivot. Like, you know, people were aligning you two together, and now you're like on board with the plan, kind of a thing. So that's important.
Wait, BB thinks he might cry talking to Julie. I think that he'll be shocked. But then, you know, he's going to probably play it off like, oh, I knew I was the big target. Like, I knew that, like, going up, sitting up there, that it was a risk that I would go home, and they knew I was a big target, so like they had to just take the shot at me while they could, even though they promised me that they'd keep me.
We saw that today with, as soon as something didn't happen that he wanted to happen, he would justify it by being like, you know, without giving the episode away because we're not there yet, but something would happen and he'd be like, well, it doesn't matter because I have this, or, you know.
Yes, Hannah did say she strongly dislikes him. Like she really, she's just like, can he go, please?
How long do you think you could fake it with Brent?
Me?
Yeah.
I could probably fake, well,
like liking him or
pointing out the things that he does that they annoy him, then I would probably be annoyed with him more soon. But I can tolerate people maybe a little bit longer. A little bit. But I'd be complaining. I'd be bitching and complaining to people a lot, but I would probably be able to hang out with them still.
Okay.
What about you?
37 seconds.
37? No, 38.
I'd like, get out of my face. I can't stand you. I'm like, that'd be terrible at Big Brother because you can't step away, right? So it's like the game, you know, like the online versions and stuff that we play, totally different because you can remove yourself or it's via text or, you know, you can fake it for an hour, whatever, via video. But being in that house constantly and potentially not being able to escape people because they can follow you around. He seems like such a big douchebag that I just couldn't. I don't think I could.
I think it's kind of mean of me to say, but I think how I actually would end up being with him is there's certain people that I think are idiots, and I can't hide that I think that they're an idiot. And so I might be kind of being rude to him to his face because I don't think that he's smart enough to even pick up that I'm being rude. You know what I mean? So I think I'd probably be testing to see how rude I could be without him.
Chantele, his body perceives his intelligence.
Just it perceives it, right? Yes.
It perceives it. And they all just sit there and they don't say anything. They're like,
that should be a clue. Like nobody's chiming in. Nobody's like agreeing with you. No one's disagreeing with you. Like
you mean, and they're just like,
But you see like or you hear the music that makes you think that they're making that face. Oh, Bruno. But okay, we start this episode. We're going to talk more about Brent, I'm sure, because I had another quote that he did actually, it starts right at the beginning. So first, Brittany runs off from the, nomination ceremony crying. It's just like, get a grip, girl. Like, this is Big Brother. If you're going to be the perpetual pawn, make it to your advantage. Like, being annoying about it makes people want to just, like, vote you out. Just saying. So he says, Brent, I am not an idiot. I was born late, but I wasn't born last night. When in actuality, the quote is, I was born at night,
Just
but
not
not last night.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was the second one that I noticed that, or the first
Oh,
one.
and I have another one on top of that too, but
I might have written down another one. I'm not sure. Oh yes, she does. It's like, hi Thomas, thanks for joining. How's it goes? We are talking a little bit about Big Brother and the messiness of Brent, who doesn't even know that he has orchestrated his own demise. Like, it was already going to be in the works. He was already going home anyways, but he at least allowed everybody not to have to lie to him anymore. They're just like, oh, no. Yeah, like, we're voting you out. Voting you out. Love it. It's I mean, I feel really bad, but I also really need to see the blind side. Like, I just need it. He said in his profile, or like in his pre-interviews or whatever, that like he loves an epic blind side when it's deserved. And it's just like, you don't write those things in your bio because you're going to get an epic blind side. It's just karma. It's just how it works. So
I know.
I get it.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what Julie has to say. Okay, so Brittany, we see her hysterically crying with Azza. And this is, I don't know how you feel, because like we were very high on Azza at the beginning of the season, even up until last week. How do you think Azza handled the situation with Brittany and then handled it with Brittany and Xavier?
She's really isolating herself with several things that happened in today's episode, from the cookout potentially, and kind of, I think, writing the blueprints for how they will maybe split up in the future, or at least divide, and when they have to go against each other. But yeah, I'm like, you're so silly telling anyone, including Derek F, that she was sitting there and she said, what did she say to Derek F? She said something, and I was like, oh, I forget what it was, but I was like, don't tell anyone. Oh, that she was good for her game and that she will never vote her out. I'm like, that's the very reason why they will vote her out, because they know that you're too close for her. And I know, everyone's like supposed to have their one person and things like that. But if it's at that level and you keep bringing it up, or it's like very evident and they have to like protect you against it, like, X, didn't put her up when she was willing to put herself up in a pawn position for her. Like, that's when it gets really dangerous, and they're going to want to separate you sooner than later. I think it'll put you at the bottom of the cookout potentially, and it will put Brittany at risk as well. So very dangerous waters.
1,000,000%. Like, I was like saying this whole week, I was like, I kind of would love to see Brent stay, and you'll have another target for next week. Take out Brittany, and then at least then the cookout doesn't have to worry about Azza being upset over the fact that her teammate, who's not in her alliance, is on the block. It's not even that she's the target. She's on the block as a placeholder because he doesn't want to make any enemies with other people in the house. And she's a perfect pawn at this point. Like, the fact that she's like angry at people for using someone that's not her in a game for $750,000. Like, it's unfathomable to me what she expects of Xavier. Be like, well, she's my teammate, you shouldn't put her up. What? You win head of household and not put her up. Yeah. Right?
I never understand when it's like, yeah, we're gonna get this person, when like the whole house is against them. It's like that's some big feat. I'm like, it's not. I'm like, the bigger get would be being smarter, and like Derek F going and telling Tiffany or something, look, this is the conversation we had. I think he can go at any time. He can go next week. She needs to go this week because we need to split those two up. It's very short-sighted just getting the person out of the house who everyone hates anyway, because everyone's just going to put them up. How does that position yourself forward? So as much as he drives everyone crazy,
he would be staying.
100%. I would be turning it around, not like shady, but I'd be turning it around. I'd be like talking to people, being like, wait a minute, guys, are we doing the right thing? Because maybe he should stay and just go next week. And Um, and then and she can go this week or whatever, because I think that he was. We haven't talked about about the challenge yet, but he was horrible. Like, it wasn't like, he was acting a fool, and I don't think he's a great necessarily like challenge beast or anything like that. So I don't think it was like, oh, this is your one opportunity to get him out. I think there'd be
No.
several opportunities, and I don't think he is able to gather, the masses to go against people. So is it worth?
That's exactly it. But just so you know, though, I don't think they'll ever show it on the episode. Maybe a little bit tomorrow. I don't know. But they were contemplating it. Tiffany definitely was talking about it with Claire about the possibility of flipping that. I'm sure she could see the fact that she will have Ozza be closer to her if she doesn't have Brittany in the way. After Ozza gets over it, like she'll get over it. She's gonna need numbers, like. Fine, you want to keep your team intact. I get that. It makes sense, of course, but you're not the one that's in power. You're supposed to kind of just be like, okay, whatever you decide to do, that's best for your game. And he's making sure that you guys won't get put up. Like, that's a lot. Like, now your allies have to also be protected from me. I don't know about that.
I've definitely cut people before in games to isolate them and make them closer to me. I mean, and if you want to talk about, they always talk about chess moves and things like that. If you want to talk about that, it's like, do you not do that in chess? Do you not place certain, and cut certain paths off and people off so that you are able to better position other players? So I'm like, to better position yourself, you really need to be thinking ahead. And it's great to have like a cool, easy HOH, not tick anyone off, get someone out who no one likes, and you'll be liked. Great, but you need to really be making those moves, because next week, what happens? Yeah, you're probably safe, unless someone's threatened by you because you did something. But then 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, 4 weeks from now, how do you see your end game? How do you position yourself?
I do have to say, though, the one thing that you aren't getting from the show is they're telling a very clean story. So it's just like, oh, he's a target. He is going home. And really, like, the feeds are quite wild. Like, all day long, there's conversations. Like, I did the live feed updates this morning, and we talked for like an hour and 20 minutes about what happened yesterday, and we didn't even get to everything that happened. So just know that they're always actually planning a week in advance. So everything's kind of already set up for next week. Like, if this person wins, we know that they're going to do this. Like, they actually are playing the game a lot more than what the show is giving them credit for. It just looks like, it's just like, oh, it's an easy week. It's an easy week. There's a lot of gaming that's going on behind these easy weeks.
That's good to hear.
It's like, it's so much game. It's so fun. Like, I'm just like, ugh, just eating it up, because like, we love strategizing, and they're overthinking everything. Hi, Ryland. They get up in the morning. They just start talking game from the second they wake up. Yeah. Like, it's great. So
I bet a lot of that's Tiffany. I feel like she was like, you can tell when she has her game face on.
She always talking game. Her and Claire and Kylan talk the most game, I'd say.
Oh, they're doing
really making Brent look stupid. Will they regret it?
Dirty with that edit. So can I just say my one more quote of his?
Yeah.
I can read you like a coloring book. That's all I want to say. I'm like, so you can't read them. Like, is that what you're...
Or you read them really basically?
I'm like,
you read them like a child.
I can read you like a coloring book. I was like, I haven't heard that one before.
What is the real saying? I can just read you like a book?
I can read you like a book. Yeah. It's because, like, easy. I can read you like a coloring book. I was like, wow, they're doing you they're putting them like one after the other, doing you dirty in this episode.
Well, and like the music, like, and he's just like,
and he has a face too, right?
Poor guy. He's gonna be mortified when he comes out. Okay, BB says Julie will say by a vote of 11-0.
Hold on, can I be Brent?
You are safe. Brent, you have an eviction on the Big Brother house. It's just gonna be wild, wild, wild times. Okay, they should have recruited Hannah for the cookout instead of Azza. I know, like Hannah's like the outside member, you know, she's like the add-on, but like she really should be in there because Azza, she feels kind of entitled to be protected by this group, which okay, cool. Like you have an understanding, you guys are all going to protect each other. You're trying to get yourself to the final five, final six. Amazing. Like I think that is super awesome. It's the first time we've ever had an opportunity to see something like this happen. So super cool. But why is she like not letting it happen? Like she's getting in the way.
She is getting in the way. But that
Yeah.
moment she's getting in the way. But that moment that Tiffany had with Hannah was really fun. She like just walks by and Hannah was like, or she said to Hannah, she's like, "Are you part of the team?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, bye." And she's like, "All right, that's it." Like she just was like, conversation done. Like that's all we needed, right? Yeah.
Well, I have to say, like when I was in Vancouver, there's not very many Black people at all, and so like walking down the street, if you see another Black person, like there's always like a nod. So like you're just like, hi. So I think it's kind of like the same type of thing. It's like we're gonna be working together. It's just
You
fact.
don't have to say anything. Absolutely. And I love it. I love it. And I really like, again, I'm not watching the feeds, so I know some are favored over others for sure, but I really like all the members of the cookout so far. And yeah, so I'm happy to see that really, I hope comes together. I hope she doesn't get in the way of what's happening. But I
And
mean,
this is what
I
I
know
think.
over Brittany, like, are you that close to Brittany that it really is
I
and it's
think
weird because she was really close to Tiffany with those like moments that they're like pretending to cry and all that. And then the last two episodes it's really shown this connection to Brittany. So
Yeah, I mean, I think it's because she's the one that's been comforting Brittany being on her team for the last 2 weeks. And I get it, it sucks being on the block, but like you were on the block next to Frenchie. Like there's no, it's like he was going, there's nothing that would have been able to change that. I really don't think. Brent, maybe it's a little bit more risky, but like everybody's on the page to get him out. These are the only two times where I'd say, like, you know, it sucks, but like use it as an opportunity, not to say to them being like, you better not put me up next week. Like I can't handle being on the block again. Like that makes me want to put you on the block, babe. Like I know that it sounds heartless and cruel, but if you tell me that you shouldn't be a pawn, why? Why not? I don't have a relationship with you. I don't have an alliance with you. And there's other people whose relationships I do not want to mess up for you. Right?
they just need to make sure that they're not put in a position where those two are can get even closer together, especially with kind of what's been going on.
Hi, Phil. Okay, so why did Brittany pick Brent first? I kind of feel like she should have tried Whitney or someone she could beat and hope others would forget Brent, and she got further down the chain. Yeah, I thought that for the veto competition, so it's bowl arena, like you spin around and then you have to like kind of go through a little bit of an obstacle course and you had to roll a bowling ball to the pins. This one, the twist was that you had to leave the room key or the room number available. So if it's like 135, you had to do like 246. And so a little spin on a pretty traditional or newly traditional competition. So what do you think of the competition on a whole? Because you're my competition guy.
I liked it. I thought it was a nice little update. They had to like weave through those couches and then get there. And yeah, so I like when they keep it fresh and it's like a traditional competition that they have, but updated. And I do like that kind of moment, that end moment there with their how I don't know if we want to say who won or not, but the winner wouldn't have been the winner if that at the last second that the lip kind of came up and it literally shot over the correct number that it was heading for and just went over it. And I slowed it down, rewatched it again, and I was like, oh, he wouldn't have won. It would have been the other person if I mean it wouldn't have mattered.
There, so.
But it was I'm just gonna say the names, who cares? Because we're almost there anyway. But it was like so Christian won, but it was Xavier who who literally half a second later, if his lip hadn't gone up, he would have hit the right number and he would have made it. So I thought it was fun. I thought they were extra bad at it. I don't know why.
I
More
guess
so
they
than
don't know the value of spotting. I danced for most of my life, and so like you kind
none
of
of
just
them
want
did.
to spinning. You're going to spot,
No.
and like you kind of keep your focus at one place. So I mean, I would have still been a bit dizzy, but I wouldn't be as badly dizzy as like Derek F of it all. Whoa, man, he was terrible. But so what do you think about Phil's point here? So do you think that what order do you think that Brittany should have picked first? Like who should she have gone up against first?
Well, from her perspective, she was like, I want to get rid of the person who absolutely won't use it on me, I think. And I think that's why she picked Brent. Because if she is under the inclination that it's him and not her and she's safe, then if he wins it, um, sh- she's potentially going home. On top of the fact, you have to remember what kind of challenge it is. And when you pick someone first, you are putting them in the position of getting weaker and weaker as it goes along. They're tired, they're dizzy. We saw that happen where two people played back to back. Brent played back to back, and he was in a situation where he was so dizzy the second time. If he did it the third time, I don't think he would have been able to get up. So, it's you want to in those types of situations where you can wear someone out, and I think that was her number one target was to get him out of the game to keep herself safe. Start with him. Where even if you don't beat him, you wear him out for someone else. I think that's what the cue. I would have done the same thing.
Okay, I see your point with the wearing him out. I do think though that she should have maybe gone against somebody else just to keep herself in the game more because she knows that she will use it on herself 100%. I think it was a little bit risky of her because like is she a great bowler? Maybe he's a fantastic bowler. He might not be great at spinning, but he might have better aim than you. So guys tend to be better at those type of competitions anyways. So I would have maybe gone against Whitney, kind of like what Phil's suggesting here, so that all the guys would go back and forth against each other after that. And then, it probably would be a similar outcome.
I
But
wouldn't want to risk it. I wouldn't want to risk it. I would go for my target and try to wear them out as much as possible and just put my faith in the fact that the house told me. So
all right, I hear your point though. Not that I'm cheering for Brittany. You're not cheering for Brittany. What do you
you're cheering
mean?
for Brent? Is that what you
Understood, Phil. That just proves that Brittany is not a high level thinker during these comms. No, well,
No, I disagree. I think it's the way I just said. I think it's she was like anyone can win. I really do. I think she thought anyone could win, preferably, me, Derek,
everybody liked Brent.
but Brent. And so go for him first, wear him out.
I see your point. Very true, Bean. She's weeks behind in the gameplay. It seems like she hasn't even started Big Brother 23. She's still in the casting process.
Just surviving. Yeah.
Okay, so does Brent really have no idea? Is he going to be the best blindside in Big B history? Yes, 100%. As of when I last watched the feed, so I watched them all day yesterday and had some updates today. And from what I've seen, he still believes that Brittany's going home. He has the numbers, and it's going to be an epic blindside. And he's going to say checkmate to I think Xavier.
You also know it's bad when like Big Brother's not even pretending with the edit that something else could happen. They're just like, yeah.
This is what's happening. You need to know this is what's happening. It's bad. Hi, Joseph. Oh, I feel for Brittany. I was checking the social media reaction. Did you guys see what James Ryan tweeted? He said Brent beat the crybaby. LOL. Brittany deserves to be on the block. How rude. Well, this is the thing. Like, I do think Brittany deserves to be on the block because she hasn't really done anything to get off the block or make relationships with people to make her not be the number one person to go up. So the reason why nobody else was going up is because Xavier is in an alliance with the Cookout. So that's her other two teammates. So Derek and Azza, Tiffany, Kyland, and honorary member is Hannah. So none of those people he's planning on putting up. And then he's also in the Royal Flush. The Royal Flush is the Queens and the Kings and Derek X. So the only people that are left really to go up on the block are Brittany, Brent, and Whitney. Those are the only people that he doesn't have direct ties to. But now also Xavier, he cuddles up next to to Whitney. And so not that they have a specific alliance, but he doesn't think that she would be putting him up right away. So why piss her off just to not piss Brittany off or not piss Ozza off when he doesn't really have anybody else that he can put up for his own particular game? So I kind of think that she deserves to be up because she hasn't made some sort of alliance with the head of household in order to keep her safe, keep her protected.
I mean, this is so early, and to be in that predicament, again, I've been there as well, where you're in a situation where you have basically no one to put up, but to have it this early in the game, I'm like, ooh, if you win HOH again in like 3 or 4 weeks, what are you gonna do?
Well, that's why they're already gaming for everything. So he didn't want to originally win this head of household. He actually, it was actually by accident that he won this. It was supposed to be thrown to Sarah Beth. So that was how it was supposed to go down. I think Sarah Beth would have still done. She would have done maybe the Whitney Brent direct hit, but it was supposed to be Sarah Beth that won that particular one. So they're already planning for weeks down the road. So right now, the queens plan on throwing the head of household because they don't have anybody to put up. They really wouldn't mind the jokers winning because they know the jokers will most likely put up 2 kings, which still have all their members intact. But no matter what, the queens are pretty much safe. The aces, I think, are going to be going after the the kings. I can't remember, but the queens are safe. So the queens are definitely throwing it. I know that Hannah has been debating whether she wants to throw it. She kind of wants Whitney to win it because they don't want Whitney to be the target this week since she didn't go out last week. But they've already have next week kind of locked down.
So speaking of, and a little off topic, can you tell me, let's go through them real quick. Like, who's the number one most likely right in this moment to go out of each group? So like jokers, you have Derek F, Brittany, and Ozza.
Derek F, Ozza, and I think Brittany would be most likely because Derek F and Ozza, even though they haven't done anything to better themselves, they are in the cookout, and the really strong players are playing very well in the cookout, and so I think that they'll be.
Okay, what about the aces?
Whitney probably or Hannah. So Whitney and Hannah are kind of both in the talks of like going out, and Hannah being the target. Hannah doesn't really know that she's in any sort of danger right now. But it looks like most people will put up Hannah and Whitney.
Okay. What about the kings?
Christian, maybe because he's a comp beast. You know, he's won pretty much every competition that he's played in, except for one head of household, I think it is, or 2. I don't know, whatever. But he still did well. But he kind of has an alliance. So him and Alyssa kind of have an alliance with Tiffany and Claire. And so that's kind of a foursome that hasn't been solidified yet. It might have been solidified today. And with that, she's going to want to keep Christian there as a shield for her, and he'll be probably winning stuff. So he might get out of that predicament, but he could go pretty quickly. And same with Alyssa. Alyssa is on Hannah's radar. SB would probably be Sarah Beth would probably be the safest out of those people, and then next would be Xavier. So.
And then the queens, we have Tiffany.
Claire would probably be the first casualty out of that group, just because the other 2 are in the cookout, so they have a lot of connections. Kyland is protected on all angles. He has a lot of final 2s. He's in all those big major alliances, and people seem to like him there. And so right now he's probably in the best position with like protection-wise. The only person I think coming for him kind of is Brittany, and I think Brittany has Tiffany has Whitney's ear, and so I think that she could steer Brittany away from Kyland if that's the case, and Tiffany has a final 2 with Kyland as well.
Interesting.
So yeah, so I think Claire though. I mean, I want Claire to go really far. Obviously, she was my first pick from our draft, but. I don't think that she's going to go anytime soon, but people have said her name.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, who? Oh, sorry, I'm missing you guys here. You guys are so quick today with all these comments. Okay, where are we? Where are we? Where are we? Is this where we are? But if he goes, and everyone else will then go after her. Everyone will go after Brittany. I think she might be safe because I think that Whitney and Hannah are more, and people just don't want the. It's very exhausting nurturing somebody that's so distraught on the block. That's not fun. So I think people might want a break of like taking care of her, especially Azza. Okay, Brittany doesn't have many fans right now. Oh, that's sad. If you try to defend her in chat rooms on social media, you are wrong. If she accepts her role as the block star, she would be fine. I mean, she just needs to do something about it. Crying doesn't do something about it. Crying doesn't change their perception of you. Telling people that you're not a pawn is not enough. You need to show people that you're loyal. You show people that you're capable of winning things. Show people that you're reliable, like something. But she hasn't really done.
I think she found like she knows the roles that she's playing right now, and that's not the role she wanted to be in. Again, been there too. And you just need to make the best of whatever position you've been in. And just because those people don't usually win, doesn't mean they can't. Doesn't mean there's not a first time. So I think she's like
come second, right, Jonathan?
I think she's more upset with the fact that
beast, and she's not
that she's like you say, the block star, and that's not someone who is kept around long term. And I don't think she wants to be in that position. I think that's what she's upset with more than anything else. But
all right, Bibine has a theory. Azza's roots are directly in Cameroon. She does not have the same experience of blacks with generational roots to slavery. Thus, she does not relate as well to Tiff and Xavier as examples. I can see this. I did do a tarot reading about Azza. I meant to go through all the house guests, but I haven't had a chance yet. And the tarot reading, it did come up that her beliefs are different from those in the house, and that it might deter her from being able to win because she's not going to be in flow or in sync with the other people playing the game. So that goes in alignment with my reading, and that makes sense to me as well. What do you think, Jonathan?
I'm not commenting on that.
Okay. That's fine. I mean,
I don't know. Those aren't my roots. I have no idea. Sure.
I can understand. I can see that being very truthful. Hashtag free Brittany. Thanks, Ron. Is Brittany the Victoria of BB23? A little bit, but at least Victoria, like, she didn't cry about it. Well, maybe she did a little bit, but like she was quieter about it, and she made it to final 2, right? So
yeah, and with Brent, I liked Paulie better in his original season of Big Brother. I mean, not on the challenge, but then I do Brent. Brent just, I mean, again, maybe it's the edit, but Brent just seems, and maybe they're protecting Paulie more, but I liked Paulie originally a lot better. So, but kind of, I mean, they're similar people. I think Paulie's worse
when they went out delusional and have a huge ego and think that every woman is in love with them. So, Ron, I think you're onto something here. Onto something. What does it say? I don't have my glasses on. Busto? Is that something? Justice for Busto?
Miss April.
I miss April. Oh, stop. No, April. We hate.
You know what I watched the clip of today?
What?
Keep going on. I'm gonna find.
Xavier really didn't want to win this. Yes, exactly. Though, and his options were slim. Somebody like a Sarah Beth, I felt would have done more. Absolutely. Like I did just mention that, but I probably just didn't read your comment yet. Yeah, he didn't want to win it because his hands are tied. He doesn't really have that many options. He didn't really want to put up Brittany necessarily, but he didn't really have any choices. And Brittany said last week that she didn't have a great conversation with Xavier, and he would be somebody that she would potentially target. So sorry, Brittany. Brittany had a fair chance to win that veto. It was not biased to either sex. Well, maybe a little bit, with the bowling thing, men may be a little bit better at bowling than women.
We've seen traditionally women struggle a little bit more in that game from what we've seen. today's episode, it seemed like they were all Stevens, but yeah, I feel like I've seen women do worse, which is funny because I would think that women would naturally be better with balance, but guys are.
With the aiming of the, unless you're an athletic woman, like you don't play with balls that much. Like for instance, myself, because I was a dance major, I never had to take gym classes because I took ballet and jazz and modern, like a ton of different dance classes every day. So I never had to play ball hockey and play volleyball. Like I never had to do that from I was 12. So I'm not great at ball sports because I just really didn't have to do it. I was like, can I take my dance elective instead? Thank you. I'd rather dance than play hockey. So I can see that women might not be as good at ball sports. But I do have to say, when I was younger, a lot, and when I say a lot of my birthday parties were bowling parties.
Oh, okay, I thought you were going somewhere else with it, talking about a lot of balls or something, but okay. A lot of bowling. I had a lot of bowling parties too. That was a big thing in like
late 80s, 90s.
I'm not gonna say how old we are, but you know, it's a big thing.
In the 2000s?
Late 2000 and yeah, it's
yeah, so I used to go to have a bowling party like all the time. I loved them. And even when I was an adult,
like 5-pin, right? 5-pin, like small.
Mhm.
Yeah.
When I was older though, we used to also do like disco bowling, and you can go and get like drinks, and it's like glow in the dark, and it's 10-pin, and that was also really fun. We do that like as adults.
Can we go roller skating?
That was what I was going to do for my birthday last year, and then it was COVID. I was like, I want everybody to dress up 70s and go to a roller skating rink.
Yes, I've never been. I've obviously done rollerblading, but roller skating, I've never done this. I know exactly. I know where to go.
How far is it?
It's like by Yorkdale.
Oh, that's not far. Okay, yeah, that's totally.
Yeah,
we had to dress up to Jonathan 70s.
Yeah.
Good. Yes. Yeah. Do you want to do it for your birthday? We can do it for yours.
Whoever's birthday's next. You're all invited, so come to.
Yes, if you're in Toronto in October, let's go roller skating. Oh my God, it's so fun. Do you know how to? You never roller skated, okay?
No, but I'm good at rollerblading and stuff like that.
Different because it's different. Just be careful.
I'm gonna have the cockiness of Brent. I'll just be like, I can absolutely do this. Yeah.
Hi, Sophie. Thanks for joining us. So that competition was funny with Brent falling down, and he is delusional. Him saying that he's got the numbers to say, yeah, poor guy. I need him to just be relieved of this like tension that he doesn't even know that he's a part of.
He went through the couches, then all the way back in that competition through the couches, and I was like, what? Where are you going?
Yeah, and Big D was also really terrible as well. So anything else really happened? So in the beginning of the episode, we see Derek F really comforting Brittany. I know. And Ozza saying like morals, emotions, gameplay is all like not really in alignment with like all the other people in the house, which I'm like, oh, I don't think that they're playing that dirty. Like, do you think what they're doing is that dirty? Putting up Brittany twice?
No, you're playing the game.
It's like if you're playing Monopoly and you don't put like a hotel up because like they don't have any money. It's a game, babe. Like, sorry. I don't know if I should put this one. Sophie seems to like to classify us as different celebrities. I don't agree with this one that she says of you, but I want to hear what you think.
Chris, okay, but hold up. Like in the beginning or now? Because I will fight you. I will find out information and what you look like and say you look like someone too. Chris Kirkpatrick now, that's very insulting. But Chris Kirkpatrick back in the day, slightly less insulting, but I'm fine with it.
Well, I'm going to say it's going to be back in the day because that's the memory that we have of like NSYNC as an entity. So
like with the dreads or
Jonathan, that is your Halloween costume. Oh my goodness.
I don't think it is though. Really don't.
That would be my dream. / so we should go for your birthday, but on Halloween. That would be fun.
Ooh.
Right?
Thank you.
No, I don't. She does say that, or he says that I'm Naomi Campbell or Tyra Banks. I'm like, okay, I'll be Naomi Campbell. Thank you. I remember when Will won the big peanut butter jar. Classic. I don't remember.
I don't remember, but you know what I do remember?
Wait,
Side
oh,
note.
peanut butter, and he's like ready. No, that's trampoline. Sorry, go ahead.
I saw a clip today online of Kale Harvick from her season
Eight,
uh, eight,
10, 8.
yeah, Big Brother 8, and she was like in the diary room being like saying how she doesn't want her kids to like tell her that she's gay or whatever. I'm like, or they're gay or whatever. I'm like, gosh, Big Brother's come a long way. She'd be canceled so quickly if she was on any recent season of Big Brother. But I was just, it was cringeworthy. Do
Going
you go
forward,
back and watch the clips of some of the old people? I mean, I was like shocked.
there's a lot of questionable diary rooms back in the day. Remember when Kiara nominated her showman's Roddy? Yep, that's another bad. Is that the same episodes of Peanut Butter? Is it that Will you're talking about? The blonde Will from
Oh,
season?
became like a porn star afterwards?
No, that's James, and it was before.
No, blonde Will, like skinny, twinky,
Oh, I
blonde
didn't
Will.
know.
That Will?
No.
Yeah, he became a porn star after.
What are we? Oh my going! What did I do? What did I say?
What didn't we say?
Anyways, thank you. Okay, what else happened in this episode? Anything good? Is other than like Brent be like, nothing about me screams pawn. You're like, we're like, that's true. You're going out.
Well,
I have a bacon plan.
just
Let's
when
get everybody.
he didn't win too, and he's like, "It's okay, I got the numbers," and then he starts like listing all the people, and you're like, "You don't have those people, babe."
I know they're all like, remember the season in season 3 when Marcellus didn't use the veto on himself? Oh, that is one of these epic. This is going down in history books as one of these kind of
Yeah.
epically
But
bad.
that was because of his love for Amy, right? So, I mean, yeah, but terrible at the same time.
Amy and like trusting Danielle.
Yeah.
Okay, so Asa does go to Xavier and like she's like obviously not happy with that his decision, and just like the attitude that she has, like she is playing a social strategy game. She like if I was super pissed off with somebody, I probably wouldn't let them know that I was as mad as I am, because I don't want them to dismantle. I don't want them to like be willing to let me go. I don't want them to want to take out Brittany because they want to weaken me. Like I would just be like, oh yeah, guys, like it's been really hard. Can we maybe try to nominate someone else other than Brittany, because it's really exhausting, like taking care of her when she feels this hurt and betrayed.
I find she's a little too candid with people around her, and even though there are people that you're working with, it's still a game and you're still an individual player. You can't show all your cards like that, and I feel like she's being a little too candid with all of them.
Way too candid. Way too. Like just like zip it and like selectively choose what you share. But we're learning that she's not a game player. And Tiffany says in the next conversation that, well, Ozzy goes and confronts Tiffany, and Tiffany didn't give her anything. I thought Tiffany could have been a little bit more generous here as well. I didn't feel that Tiffany handled that conversation very well. I think that she should have made Ozzy feel better. But Tiffany was like, I didn't want her to know my reasonings for doing anything. We're not working together and we don't play the same. So I didn't want to give her that. So I also understand that point of view of Tiffany's. It just shows to me that like they're not working together, other than the fact that they're in an alliance, that Tiffany would just let her go. And I would just let her go as well. If she's not working, if she hasn't seen the master plan and see why I've done certain things, I'd be like, then you got to go.
I'm surprised Tiffany didn't have a better answer prepared for that, because of how much she strategizes and whatnot. I would have thought that she would have anticipated being asked that, and she didn't. And I think that's why she was upset, because she was caught so off guard and gave a very vague answer.
The conversation was longer, and she does talk more about how like she did it because like there wasn't many people that Xavier could put up, and it might have left it open that he would put up them. And she did talk about the fact that it was to protect the cookout, but they didn't show that. But she gave her more than what they showed in the episode.
Okay.
definitely. So Tiffany complains to Xavier about this, and I think that Tiffany's starting to plant the seeds for other people to maybe it's time to let Azza go. Like, it won't be her. I don't think that she's going to target Azza at all, but I wouldn't be surprised if, those aces that she's working with, maybe a little Christian, little Alyssa at some point, like, takes a shot. She might just let that happen. She's not going to jump out in front to save Azza like Azza's doing to Brittany. That's what I think is kind of setting up here.
Well, the Kings, right? Yeah. So I can definitely see that. Like, if it's one of them wins HOH, and she might just gently decide that if, or give a little gentle nudge and a push in that direction if needed.
And also, you remember last week as well, if I was a head of household, if I wasn't in the cookout and didn't have that sort of agreement, and Azza was saying, like, put me up instead, I don't care about my game, I'd go home, I would take her up on that. You know what I mean? Like, if you are going to fall on your sword for somebody on your team that would not do the same thing for you, and you're willing to go up on the block, I am willing to give you what you want. And that's probably what I would have done, just to teach her a lesson, because, like, it's
poor gameplay. I'm like, I don't know what you're doing, but I mean, it's so hard for me to the show, because everything changes so much. Again, we're only on the first few weeks. It's anything could happen.
Yeah, Xavier was funny in the diary room today. He's definitely showing a little bit more of his personality, which I did like. At the end of the episode, we see him signing off as though he's on the PA on a flight, basically sending Brent packing out of the BBUS house. So I thought, yeah, he was pretty good this episode. Definitely went up in my book.
I agree. I have to eat my words. I was thinking about it while I was watching this, because in our initial draft, I thought, I was like, ooh, I don't know that how he'll respond to the pressure and everything. I thought he might be more quick to respond to certain people in a certain way, but I think he's held himself up so well in many situations, and his personality's really come out in the last few weeks, and it's really enjoyable to watch. And and I think he's putting himself in a good position, like Kylan had done previously. When you're HOH, you might not be making those bigger moves that we're talking about earlier, but you're putting yourself in a likable situation, which is
he's definitely only maybe slightly on Brittany's radar, but Tiffany has her ear, so I think he'll be safe for a little bit at least. I do think that it's very capable of getting the cookout to the, at least to jury, which is what Tiffany has agreed upon now, because, like, she's just like, well, what do we do? Like they're rooting our game. Like, Tiffany has been saying, like, to Kylan, like, I don't know if we can take them this far if they're not on our same page with how we play this game. Like, it's just getting very difficult to keep them safe when they're not working with us. It's just like, oh, I gotta carry these people along in this game, and they're not good for my game, but I gotta make sure that they stay in there. And so she started to think about this, and so they did agree upon yesterday that they were going to take Azza and I guess Derek F to jury. Like, that's as far as that they think that that's far enough for them to carry them through. So two more evictions most likely. So will Azza be the downfall of the cookout? Potentially, because Azza is quite an emotional player, and Tiffany is not, and she gets pissed off about things, and they've been talking about. They're going to take them to jury, but they've been talking about not wanting Azza in jury because she's not going to make a good decision. She's going to be emotional in her decision, and that's not good for Tiffany in the end game. So she's going to be the downfall of the cookout and or her own game. I don't think that Azza has a chance of winning.
Yeah, I think she's the whose draft is she on? Do you know?
JoJo.
I think she's problematic to the cookout, whatever that may mean. But
definitely a problem. Definitely not on the same page. Felt it to me like Xavier did enough just to make Hannah happy this week. Brent is a pig. It's true. If you've been watching the feeds towards Hannah, not once but twice. Yeah, he's a little bit inappropriate, and he thinks that Hannah likes it and is flirting, but she really doesn't like it, and she's done. She's done. Xavier was doing a flashback to a Chilltown phone call in the diary room. Are we allowed to say Chilltown, like with like Mike being so problematic?
Restraining order against it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I can't wait to see Hannah's goodbye message.
Do you think they'll show it? They might be so mean. I don't think she will be mean. What did you think about Alyssa and Christian smooching under the covers?
Well, I'm not a big fan of showmances as well. But yeah, I mean, it's not, as long as it's like not overly shown, and I think it's such a aligning yourself and making yourself seem like someone's number one can be such a detriment. I think it's a stupid game move, but being close to people is obviously a good thing as well. People are going to see it as a threat. They're not right now, maybe, from what I've seen, which is great. I haven't heard anyone talking about it, but yeah, it's you kind of need to like calm down with that. When there's multiple showmances, it's something else, but is there? I mean, I only know of like really the one that's at that level. So yeah, you have to be careful, especially if you're the only one that's
definitely
like,
be careful. Now, do you ship this potential relationship, Hannah and Derek X? So Hannah has a crush on Derek X.
yeah. I mean, like, as much as, again, it's like I don't want it shoved in my face too much because I'm not here for that. I'm here for the gameplay, but use it as some of your game, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, I like both of them, so why not?
Yeah, they're super cute. Everybody loves them together, but they're kind of wanting to distance themselves a little bit just because like they don't want people to see them as a duo. But she has a lot of a crush on him, and it's very cute. So, we have more Brentism saying like he doesn't need the veto and all that stuff. And I was like, brutal, brutal, brutal. So the competition happens, which we've talked about. And then after Brent is counting votes and he realizes that you can't use the veto, and people are like, oh, okay. What? Explain this one to me. Like they were all shocked about the fact that he wants to stay on the blog, and like they thought that they're gonna have to do like a few days of him like campaigning, like why they should use the veto on him or get people to do so. But no, he made it even easier for them that he's like not even going to campaign to get the veto used on him. So his gut is never wrong. Never.
I mean,
well,
I don't even know what to say to that. It's just so ridiculous. Like, in what situation would you go around, even if you had a good read of the house? It's still such a dangerous play, and if everyone's in your favor anyway, why would you need to enforce that? I just didn't get it. I was like, what do you? No, I mean, but it's Brent. Do we try to understand his logic? No.
He's not good at the game. Business owner Alyssa would not date a guy long term that lives with his mom. LOL. True. I mean, he's a little
turn things around. I may or may not have a good friend who was like, met her now husband and said, and was working at a grocery store, and said, look, you need to do this, 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 and this. And he's like, okay, and did all those things. Got a, like, let's call it a professional job. You can be a professional, work at a grocery store. I'm just saying, got a turn some things around. Yeah, absolutely. And kind of, did all those things. So, I mean, you don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, no, he's 23. He can still live at home. I think I still lived at home until I was 24. So.
Yeah, if you can, I mean, listen, anyone stays together that are in their 20s, I congratulate you because you're still discovering yourself. So.
Yes. They are just still discovering themselves. Absolutely. So Christian did not use the power of veto. And, Brent gets what his wish. He says, the puppeteer is here. Puppeteer is here. Thank you, Brent. Thank you, Brent. And then we got closed out by the Big Brother airline. Taking him out.
Yeah, I know that they're in the diary room trying to push like how smart he is and stuff. Like they're like, "You are a genius, Brent." Like they're like, I'm sure they're really trying to feed it to him, but it's so funny.
Yes, he does think he's Dr. Will. He thinks he's very, very, very smart. Jonathan, you are nice. Wait, what? You are nice, Canada?
You are in.
Oh, you are nice, Canada. This is Cutthroat USA.
Cutthroat USA.
Jonathan is not nice.
I'm not a
He's
nice person.
cutthroat.
I will cut anybody in my family. Do whatever I need to do.
I asked him if he would be protecting Brittany like Ozza did, and he's like, I wouldn't protect my mom like that. Shut no way. Hilarious.
I just made one here. I'm a nice person. Yes, I'm nice. Thank you, Beebeen. Yes, I am. Thank you. Thank you.
Was there anything else about this episode you wanted to chit chat about? Any questions that you have?
No, it was just the Brent episode really, and filled with a lot of Brentisms, as you said, and it was just really entertaining to see because it was so out of touch with things.
Let's try to get on your good side again. Yes, Jonathan would be amazing on one of these reality shows.
Because I'm so full of it, or is that?
You're so good looking. You'd be in a showmance. Strategic mastermind, diary room gold.
I would do horribly. I would throw my mic in the pool. Remember that?
I can see you that, though, to be honest. I can see you just be like,
you're damn right I would.
Hilaire. Okay, the team twist being over next week. Well, hopefully we'll make these people cutthroat. I miss like Miss Tiffany says, this is best friend. This isn't best friend. This is big brother. Yes, it's true. It's true. No, thank you, Bean. Thank you, Jonathan, for hanging out with me and talking about Big Brother. I do love my Wednesdays with you because my mom says she loves watching you because like you make her laugh so much. She says like I crack up with like Jonathan, so she loves you, Jonathan.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom. And you guys know the drill, but we'll just try this one more time with a little bit of. Subscribe over there, just building our family of reality TV junkies like ourselves. And, you can support this channel with a super chat. We say yes. The super chats will be going towards my new computer fund because I realized I really need a new computer. So that's what my super chats will be going to so I can have better videos for you guys on the interwebs, on YouTube. So thanks, everybody. Do you have anything to say? Final thoughts, final words? Other than bye.
You can get an open box MacBook Pro at Best Buy for really cheap. That's all I have to say. So.
How really cheap? Like $1,500 cheap?
Like $13.99. I just saw it last night. Anyway,
what's
my final thoughts. Open boxes. You're good. You're good.
Okay. Bye. I'm doing it.
Bye.